Hi there, welcome to Campfire Fox Lists, where I list a few things and we talk about them. Enjoy. Deception 3 Dark Delusion. Deception 3 Dark Delusion is the third game in Tecmo's cult series, Deception. It came out on March 1st, 2000 in North America. It follows the story of Raina, a girl who with her adopted family has been kidnapped and brought to the land of Bergenhagen to be sold into slavery. She has to use her trapping powers she acquired to defeat her kidnappers and solve mysteries of the pendant she wears, which other people seem to want for unknown reasons. The game's actually pretty cool. I liked it. Everything about it is such a strange concept. You pick a floor trap and a wall trap and a ceiling trap, and you set them up in a room that also might have resident traps, and you just lure your attackers into those and you set them off because your character can't fight back. So she uses witchcraft to kill them, and for higher combos and everything you get experience points, which unlocks better traps. It's an extremely strange concept, and I've never understood why the series has never taken off, because it's sort of like a dark version of Home Alone. And it's also pretty gory and macabre in a way, or at least for their time. All in all, it's worth checking out. Just because of the mood and the solid gameplay, and it's got multiple endings. And you know, if you delve deep into the story, there's actually a pretty decent story here as well. It's just a slight bit convoluted, but all in all, it's well worth getting, well worth playing, well worth checking out, and it's very strange. The Bombing Islands. The Bombing Islands is a puzzle game made by Kimco for the PlayStation, really late in the PlayStation 1's life, back in 2001. You control a main character called Kid Clown, and your goal is to take and blow up about 60 islands. And you have to use bombs and other things to get rid of all the bombs that are stuck on the island. You have one single red detonator bomb, and you got to group it alongside the other bombs and create a sort of chain reaction that explodes all of them. Because if you don't do that, then you have to do the map over again, you lose. Or if you don't get away in time and you blow yourself up, you also lose. It's kind of similar to Bomberman. It also kind of reminds me of that game that came out on the Nintendo 3DS with Dig Dug. I forget the name of it. It could have been DS, but it reminds me of that game. It's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. There's a lot of things to do in it as far as challenge goes, but I don't know about replay when it comes to that, because once you do a puzzle, I mean, you pretty much know how to do it. There's a lot of different things in it though, and it's definitely a challenging game. There's a lot of different hazards like moving platforms and spikes coming through the ground, and like slippery surfaces and things. Also, there's a step counter, so I guess that kind of encourages you to go back and play, because if you can take and hit gold or silver or bronze, you know, it goes by how many steps you take to get those. So if, let's say, one map you got a bronze, then you could do better and get a gold. All in all, it's well worth checking out. It's kind of sad that it just kind of went under the radar, because it's not a terrible game, and it's definitely a strange game, but it's no Bomberman, but it's well worth checking out. One Piece Mansion. One Piece Mansion is a game by Capcom that came out on the PlayStation 1 back in September 30th, 2001. Also a really late game to come out at the end of the PlayStation's life. The storyline of One Piece Mansion is about a landlord called Paul Po At the start of the game, Polpo's little sister is kidnapped by a rival mansion owner, Chocola. It's your job to battle through the levels, meeting Chocola's objectives, and eventually free Polpo's little sister. It's kind of an easy game, but at the same time, it's not. Every resident in the player's mansion has a stress level. It's got a small bar above their head, and if that gets too high, they move out of the mansion. And every resident affects the stress levels of the residents around it in a positive and negative way. Each resident has a unique stress effect, and some have a negative to the left, positive to the right, up, down, all that kind of crap. The task of the player is to arrange it so that everyone's happy. But if a resident does get stressed out, their effect on other residents changes. So it can kind of like break everything down. Also, the main character, Polpo, has a role to play in the game. By switching manager mode, you can roam around the mansion and blow your whistle to send any Syndicate 5 members on that level back to the rooms, and use a fire extinguisher to put out any fires that happen in the mansion. So, like when your mansion gets full, you gotta build new rooms, you gotta expand it with more elevators, different things like that. I don't know what to think about this game. It's one of those games to me where you either will love it or you'll hate it. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and it's not a bad kind of a sim puzzle strategy game. So I encourage you to give it a try, check it out for yourself, and you might enjoy it. Gubble. Gubble's one of those games that came out real late in the PlayStation 1's life cycle. It came out in June 2002 in North America. It's got 10 worlds in it and 104 sublevels, or basically mazes. And it's about an alien that had been abducted and he needs to get home by unscrewing levels. So, yeah, that's kind of weird. Each maze has a bunch of enemies in it and a bunch of different tools like screwdrivers, hammers, different things like that. And you have to take apart the level by hitting each screw with said tool. So it's a little bit like Pac-Man, but not really. It's a bit slower. And each level has its own sort of gimmick, like you've got lava, fields, deserts, snow, all that kind of stuff. All in all, it's not a terrible game. I would suggest giving it a try. It actually ends up being kind of addictive, and it's, not definitely not one of those mainstream games for sure. Just the concept in itself is strange, so it's well worth checking out. And it's a bit sad that it flew under the radar as well. So you may enjoy it. Thanks for sitting around and humoring an old fox and his tales. If you'd like more, please hit like and subscribe. And remember, nothing is more frightening than a fear you cannot name.